Hello and welcome to the German Guy Reviews. Felidae is a book written by the German-Turkish author Akif Princi.
Akif Pirinci.
Nah, close enough. His work has been banned in a lot of places in recent years, but not for the reasons you might think. It turns out the guy who fantasizes about mountains of dead kittens is a shitbag, as he is associated with lots of far-right organizations and made some really nasty comments about immigrants and others he doesn't like, going so far with his rhetoric that he ended up in court for defamation. So yeah, fuck that guy. But, as we all know, even Hitler could make some great art. Man, that's actually pretty decent. He should have become a painter or something. So, given this fact, we will judge the art on its own. So come with me when we take a look at Felidae. This movie is infamous for being one of the most gruesome cartoon films ever made, and when you open the Wikipedia page, the first sentence you read is "Felidae is an adult animated film." Which is very interesting, cause the authorities over here decided that this film is appropriate for ages 12. I guess the thinking went that when they are old enough to be eaten by Pennywise the Clown, they can also watch this. As a matter of fact, all it takes for kids to watch this ultimate feline Holocaust fanfiction is to go to Amazon right now and watch it for free with a few ads. We truly live in a sick world. So the movie begins with a calming song.
9 lives is cool if you're using the wise.
Knowing what this movie actually contains, this has the same vibes as a creepy guy in a trench coat walking up to a bunch of children in the playground, giving them candy and saying, "Hey kids, wanna see a dead body?" Like, it's so sadistic. You slowly draw them in with something peaceful and then you wait for the true horror to unfold. And then profit. I assume you can buy stock options in therapy sessions, otherwise there's no other explanation than complete total sociopathy. But yeah, we meet Francis, our main character, who recently with his owner moved to a new home. Said owner constantly moves because he is a writer and thinks doing this gives him inspiration. That and I make all my previous homes completely uninhabitable. At some point I don't even flush the toilet anymore. I just open the door to the bathroom, go and then I let the rats and cockroaches sort it out. Francis notices that there's a strange smell coming from the upper floors, but thinks nothing of it. Instead, he goes outside to explore the neighborhood and runs into this big chonker, going by the name Bluebeard, looking like he fought in the Great Kitten War. It was the 1st of September. The most bloody battle that I have ever seen. We lost some good furballs that day, but we were able to hold a great litter box in a park. Also, this guy has a sailor's mouth. My goodness.
Hast du's beobachtet? Scheiße, nein, aber...
Age 12. On their stroll, the two friends discover a corpse. As you do. And Francis decides he is going to solve this crime. That same night, Francis has the most psychedelic of dreams, because Francis has issues. But we get some hints as to what is going on. Some evil science. Bluebeard tells his buddy that there was another murder not far. He tries to lead him there, but on their way they are being stopped by the two male versions of the Siamese twins of Lady and the Tramp. Also, this huge tank of a cat. By the way, I didn't see that the hair on his legs is grey. For a moment it looked like skin to me, and it reminded me of movie bullies with sleeveless jeans jackets. They call each other stupid and gay for a while, and try to prove who has the bigger balls. Then the big cat leaves and tells them that this isn't over. Just you wait until I see you in the Call of Duty lobby again. Francis investigates the next victim and discovers that said poor soul was aroused when he died. All of them were. I see. We are gonna set a trap for the perpetrator, but we are going to need lots of catnip and hookers. When Francis goes home, he discovers that his house is a gathering place for a cat cult, which is in the process of turning a bunch of its members into fried toast. It's not alive! I am not in a position to tell you how you should run your congregation, but don't you think that way you will run out of members too fast? I mean, come on, one sacrifice per week is enough. Then again, cats do give birth to up to 9 kids, so maybe this isn't even part of any ritual, just regular population control. Anyhow, Francis is spotted and then hunted across town over the rooftops until he ends up at the home of a very nice cat lady who is also blind, giving him shelter. The next day, Bluebeard takes our Inspector Catchit to another feline with access to a computer. The house where he lives has a bunch of pictures of the Kama Sutra on the wall and a portrait of a strange priest. A pastor who is part of evil experiments and also a pervert? What is this? V for Vendetta? Their new ally is named Pascal. He shows them a database, or cat base as the movie calls it.
I'm the one who makes the puns around here! Got it?
Where all the cats in the city are listed. Pascal also tried to find the killer, but wasn't successful yet. Francis is shown a list of all the known victims, and the newest one, Felicitas, the blind cat he just met. Our black set doesn't want to believe this and runs over to her, but of course, that is that. Only Whiskers gives your cat's teeth the strength to bite off heads. And so he swears then and there that he will catch the killer. Justice will be done. But enough of that. Time for some more effed up stuff, as Francis dreams of a legion of dead felines puppeteered by the priest. Master! Master! Master of puppets pulling your strings! So yeah, this is beyond messed up. I feel uncomfortable and I want this to end. Oh, but we haven't even started yet. Francis goes to the basement where he finds an old tape of all the brutal and evil experiments done to the helpless animals. And I really think I have to censor this because, my god, this is for your own and mine own sake. This is really hard to watch and I don't even want to describe it. Let's just say you are going to need at least 2 seasons of Bluey to feel like not all goodness in the world has burned to ash. When you have finished watching the scene, it's like as if a cat has got your tongue. Which is impressive because its frontal cortex has been burned away with acid. But this is not just some pointless torture porn, as we learn that the funding for these experiments was eventually cut. This is not what the investors had in mind when you told them you were going to build a pussy crusher. So the evil science guy resorted to use the offspring of the cats he had left. Then something went wrong. We don't know what that is, but it seems like one of the experiments attacked the head researcher and escaped. Good. I hope he gave the a-hole a facelift like Rocket did in Guardians 3. Suddenly, the big cat shows up, looking for a fight. Francis, being a smart boy, knows he can't win against this giant, so he runs away. He is saved when they run into another victim of Jack the Kitter. And not just anyone, but the mate of our boulder of flesh. And she was pregnant with his babies. Ages 12! Jesus Christ, man! I like dark stuff, I really do. And also when kids are being trusted to handle heavy themes. But this is just so in your face. It's like the author was on a single mission to always make the next thing more gruesome than the last. A very old guy was seen at the scene of the crime, and Francis follows him to a dumping ground for thousands of cat skeletons. You know, Peter Molyneux, the creator of the Fable games, always likes to put in some mini games where you can mistreat chickens. When asked about this, he once said that chickens are just dumb animals and he hates them. But you know, it's obvious he doesn't hate them. This is fun animal abuse. This here is genuinely concerning. Did a cat kill your parents? Is that what happened? Be that as it may, this new cat goes by the name Hezekiah. He is the crypt keeper and tells him that there once was a place called Dreamland, aka the lab they are from. And the mice named it Nim. Dreamland was destroyed by a prophet, going by the name Claudandos, the cat that killed the head researcher. He led them to freedom. This is what the cult from before is built around, the worship of said chosen one. Joker, the leader of the cult, told Hezekiah to take care of this place. And so, over the years, more and more dead bodies piled up. Now it's time for something completely different, as Francis wakes up one morning and is horny, so he goes to another cat outside and does some hanky-panky. Bad kitty indeed. Francis tells his friend that he needs to go to the cult leader and find out what he knows, while he goes back to Pascal. Our hero converses with his co-investigator. They consider what they know. All of the victims were male and belonged to the same race of cat. So it stands to reason that the serial killer isn't just randomly committing murders, but has a goal. They assume that Joker could be the butcher. His experiences at the laboratory made him go insane, and all the homicides, well, feline sides, is his sick way of worship. But Francis is not so sure. To him, this seems to be a bit too easy. Bluebeard returns. He only found a bunch of art at Joker's house. The cult leader himself is nowhere to be found. Pascal calls it a night and says tomorrow they can think about other potential suspects. An assembly is called. Pascal and Francis bring everyone up to speed. They explain their theory. Joker is somehow honoring their dead prophet's legacy. But a small kitten, the granddaughter of Joker, interrupts, telling them that her granddad said that the prophet still lives. Pascal, however, says that this case is closed. Joker has run away and his murder spree is over. But this just doesn't sit right with Francis, who goes back to the preacher's house to give it one last close inspection. And Francis does indeed find something that Bluebeard overlooked. On the shelf, Joker's cold body is stored, and our cat detective is thinking to himself that the cult leader gave himself willingly, and furthermore that their liberator Claudandos must still be alive. How he deduces any of this, I have no idea whatsoever. Also, Francis believes that his nightmares were actually visions giving him clues. I never expected this collusion with cats, but here we are. What am I saying? This would fit right into that franchise. It turns out the priest in his nightmares and on the portrait at Pascal's house is none other than Gregor Mendel, the founder of modern genetics. Specifically, the man who discovered how certain traits in living organisms are hereditary. Furry Sherlock and his Watson head back to Pascal's home because they have some questions.
Blaubart was here.
Ah, that's why cartoon cats always sound like graffiti cans when they pee. It is revealed that Pascal is none other than Claudandos. He committed all of those crimes. When he escaped his hellish prison, he was taken in by the crazed doctor's lab assistant. With access to all of those books on genetics, he decided to start a breeding program. Joker was responsible for spreading the ideology while he worked behind the scenes. His victims were all males he deemed unworthy and polluting the pure bloodline. His goal is to breed a master race of cats that will overthrow humanity. As long as you don't have any thumbs, I don't feel very threatened. And, you know, it has to be said. Akif, my man, you wrote a book where the villain is a eugenicist psychopath, yet here you are spreading proto-fascist nonsense. How does this keep happening with people?
Deshalb habe ich dich auf meine Fährte gelockt, damit du mein Nachfolger wirst, der Führer dieser wundervollen, mächtigen Felidae.
Like, you have so many people who in their 30s and 40s were explicitly anti-xenophobic and then a few decades later they support this shit. Do I have to be afraid that once I hit age 60 that my brain is going to decompose in real time? Claudandos informs Francis that he wants him to be his successor, as he is dying of stomach cancer. Our hero, however, wants to end this madness and begins to delete all of Claudandos' research data and breeding list. So, did it never occur as strange to the lab assistant that there is a detailed plan for feline world domination on his computer? The mad cat attacks Francis, starting a fire in the house. The two have a most bloody battle until Claudandos does a scar jump, and Francis takes the opportunity and slices him open. His last moments on Earth is him lamenting how there's so much darkness in the world, how he used to be good and now he's evil, and the true monsters are humans. Don't worry, monkeys are next in line to give it a shot. Our hero grabs his best friend who has been injured and carries him outside. A few days later, Francis gives us these last few words. Don't stop believing in a better world. Cat and human can live in harmony together. And off he goes to bang his chick. And that was Felidae. Who is this movie for? What is this movie for? I mean, I get it. The usual moral of the story. Humans suck, we should treat nature better, and we have a responsibility to not abuse science, etc., etc. But why is it so messed up? Like I said, I don't mind dark stuff, but this film crossed the line into tasteless territory more than a few times. And as we have established, this film is for ages 12, so clearly a family picture. And as such, what is missing is something that balances out the horrific elements. For example, your average animated film that has lots of disturbing and dark things in them has an equal amount of beauty, so not to traumatize kids forever. But the best we get in Felidae is the depressing regular fog world in Silent Hill right before we go back to Hell World. But I would not have actually removed any of the grotesque sequences, to be honest. I would have done them all at once. Have one big 5 to 8 minutes long super nightmare. That way the horror is condensed and way more effective. Because all the horrific visions pretty much serve all the same purpose and all deliver the same amount of important information. Also, maybe a little bit more subtlety could have helped. Don't show us the mangled corpses right away. Build it up slowly, or sometimes just hint at it. Let our imaginations do the rest. The fact that horrific stuff happens over and over again and so frequently gives it the feeling of being just too much, like you are just being edgy. As for the rest of the movie, the animation is pretty great. Back in the day, it was the most expensive animated project ever done in this country. Which, okay, we barely ever do them, so I guess that's not a hard record to break, but hey. The story is pretty good too. A well done murder mystery. Though a couple of scenes and dialogue I assume are better explained in the book. Like, why does Francis have visions? Is he from the lab too, even though he is not from the city? Or is he actually psychic? But what I am still guessing is what the intention of the story is. Is it like an extreme anti-drug film only for animal protection and environmentalism, trying to make you feel so bad and so horrified that the mere thought of harming other living creatures makes you throw up? As for me, I'm going to run through the streets now, screaming, "The cat Nazis are coming! The cat Nazis are coming!" See how many people will believe me. The German guy out, and auf Wiedersehen.
Rated PG-13.